Ladies and gentlemen, good morning, or good evening. We're off to a great start. Good evening, and welcome to Lord Gugu's stream. Tonight's performance of musical theater is good actually will run approximately 90 minutes with no intermission. Please take this time to note all emergency exits and silence all noise-making devices, especially pacemakers. And as always, make sure to give a hand job to your neighbor. It's time for Musical Theater is Good, Actually. Boom! Hey! Oh! And this is a surprise. I have a theme song. All right? This is it. Get ready. Get ready for this theme song. Haven't even brought on the guest yet, but we're going to see how it goes. I don't think the guest could hear it, but let me know in the chat. You did hear it. Okay, good. Good. All right. They can't hear you yet, but we will bring him in here, folks. Too many windows. You know our guest from the internet, where he has one of the best presences on Twitter and all social media, and is an integral member of the Slurp Fam / Jack AM / Bazizio Buzzcast Bug Cult adjacent community world. And if the last 10 seconds of words didn't mean anything to you, that's okay. Don't worry about it, because he's also just a really funny and cool guy. So I'm excited to welcome Yonkler! Yay!
Hello.
Welcome, Yonkler.
Up in the mezzanine, yonk.
Oh wait, they couldn't hear.
Should cover everybody.
Could we not hear the music? Could we not hear the theme song? Could we hear the cheer that I just did? It should. If it's capturing the desktop, can we not hear Yonkler? Because that would be bad.
Yonk.
We're hearing Yonk. Are we hearing Yonk? Oh, we heard the cheer. Just okay. You know what? Maybe the. I'm gonna try this one more time. I don't know why it wouldn't work, but let's go. Musical theater is good, actually. Okay, I'll do it again. Musical theater is good, actually. Whoever sang that's really good. I don't know who did it, though.
This is just the show. We're going to run that, 90 times?
Yeah, this is it. This is the entire theme song. Musical theater is good, actually.
Eventually, it's going to make sense to everybody.
Yep. So I think I'm going to try to have a different one every week for a different thing. We're just experimenting with having running bits. But Yonkler, I'm so glad to have you here as the second guest, mostly because I see you all the time in the chat and on Twitter, and you're just such a great guy in all those places, but I haven't had the chance to, chat one-on-one like this, and especially because I always see... Well, we'll get into it when we can't reveal yet. There's a big reveal in this episode.
Oh, we'll get to it.
And that's why everybody's here, and they're all excited. But that was the impetus to get you in here, and I'm like, okay, Yonkler's a big musical head. I can tell. I'm connecting the dots. I'm putting the pieces together, and we got to get Yonkler in here to talk musicals. Is that accurate?
To find. You can find very quickly that I'm a musical head.
Yes, as all the best of us are. And everybody, I don't know what's up with my Chrome key and why I keep just melding into the background, and I'm not going to figure it out. So I'm sorry, I'm just kind of looking at myself
I think it looks cool. You're the ghost of the Richard Rogers Theater.
That's right. Of whatever show this is the set for, I don't know. I don't know what show it is.
I wouldn't know.
Who knows? It's a mystery.
I've never seen it.
Certainly can't talk about it in the chat. But
call it a show would be a stretch.
That's right. Ooh. No, it is a good show, honestly. But Yonkler, what's like what because you kind of work a little bit. I mean, I don't know if you want to talk about like your professional life or anything at all, but like you do a little show busy kind of stuff, right? You're on sets sometimes, I see, and
Sure.
stuff.
I have the very cool job of being a production assistant. For those of you who don't know, they are regarded as the highest of the top of the chain in Hollywood. They make
Right.
all the calls.
Yeah, please
they're-
let because I'm on the East Coast here. There's a community not in Hollywood, so let them know. Yeah, inform them about this because they they know about the
Yeah,
hierarchy
usually-
where PAs run the town. Everybody
Usually
knows
it's a
this.
lot of lunch runs and making sure the LaCroix is stocked. But, that gives me a lot of time to listen to musicals and show soundtracks.
It is they're great driving music because it's like a book on tape meets like an actual album. It's like a book on tape that's sung to you. It's like here's a whole story in song.
I find myself listening to a book on tape a lot of the time. I'm just like, can someone just sing a
I
damn
know.
song?
Can you just break out into song already? Come on.
Biggest problem with book on tape.
That's right. More and more people are saying it, that they wish that they could just have some songs in their book on tape. I bet you now,
Something's got to change.
speaking of Jack AM, I bet you that there are some Lord of the Rings that break out into song. Some Lord of the Rings audiobooks. I just watched the extended editions over the past week, so that's why I got Lord of the Rings.
Oh,
on
yeah.
my brain. I'd never
I'm
actually
glad
seen
you were able to make it. Those
all
are like
the
28
extended.
hours, right?
Yeah, I'd never seen them, but quarantines for like the time where it's like, this was that thing that I was like, oh yeah, one day I'll just finally watch all of them, and so then I did.
This is that day. Every
was-
day.
I know, it's like, now's the time. Now is the time. Like, now is the time to start a regular talk show podcast thing about musicals and try to teach
With
yourself.
some guy named Yonkler.
Yeah, try to teach yourself streaming. Yonkler got to see a lot of the magic behind the scenes, folks. Let me tell you, right before I'm about to
takes
get
a
on,
lot to make a show happen, folks.
we're not going to be showing clips tonight because we didn't pull any, and also what we're talking about, I don't know if there's a way to show clips without it getting muted. And I don't want to do that for these shows if possible. Actually, a portion of last week
Blockbuster motion picture.
got muted, and it was the Chicago Overture part because it's like right from the it didn't get. I don't know if it got muted. Oh no, it did. I think on the VOD it got muted, and then when I uploaded it to YouTube, it was like, and this is all the stuff I'm learning, just like letting you know the process. When I uploaded it to YouTube, it's like you can't monetize this. And I was like, I don't really care. I don't give a shit. I was like,
Let us have our overtures. We don't have enough overtures.
oh my gosh, we don't celebrate enough overture. I love a good overture. What's your favorite overture? We're not getting into the quiz. This is like the quiz is still coming, but this is just the pre-chat.
My Fair Lady and Hello Dolly both have great overtures.
Ooh, those are good. Yeah, My Fair Lady.
Really big fan of those. Yeah.
Those are My Fair Lady score is amazing. One of
West Side Story is another wonderful overture.
Oh well, I mean, yeah, and Leonard Bernstein, another amazing overture, except it's more of an opera. Is Candide? You ever heard the Candide overture?
Okay.
Slaps.
No.
Slaps. Candide overture.
Guaranteed slap.
But my favorite is Merrily We Roll Along is the best. Is the best overture.
Okay.
Have you not heard that overture? Now, I mean, people, you can feel however you want to feel about the show itself. I love the music, but it's Sondheim's weakest book collaborator, George Firth. Yeah, and the show does. They've tried to make it work, and who knows if it actually works. But the music's phenomenal, and that is an amazing overture. Yeah, so that's overtures, and that's Overture Chat. So thanks for being with us on Overture Chat, everybody. That's the show.
Hey, that's Overture Talk.
I just want to add a little. Oops. This is we're watching it happen right now, folks. I want to make sure that your name is up on here so people know who it is, and they can follow you on their various platforms. There we go. trying to see.
There it is.
There it is.
Come
there it
watch
is.
me talk about musicals.
That's right. Okay, so should we get into this quiz? Should we just get into it? Because, like, that's going to cover a lot of...
I didn't know there'd be a quiz.
Oh, pop quiz, hot shot. Anybody remember that? Anyone remember that commercial? 90s kids. Oh, God. Oh, God.
All-time commercial.
Folks, we're watching it all be figured out live. Okay, here's the musical quiz. Yonkler, 2 statements. Which statement do you agree with more?
All right, let's hear them.
Oh, and if this is your first time tuning into Musical Theater is Good, actually, I need to intro the quiz itself. This is to get a bit of background and context of Yonkler and where he's coming from with the musicals before we launch into our full discussion. Okay, sorry. Okay, so, which statement do you agree with more, Yonkler? Musical theater is the pinnacle of human achievement as the purest and most complete synthesis of all art and performance. Or, musical theater is an abomination before God and man and destroying us as a society and human race. Of the 2 options?
It's a close call, but I'm going with the first.
You gotta go with the former. The former. By the way, it seems like that's a jokey, like, overstatement that I've made, but that's genuinely how I feel.
Everything there is as is.
No lies detected. I'm not even kidding. That is really how I feel. It is all the arts. It's all the arts. That's why it's great. It's all of them at once. And so of course it's hard to do it well because any one of those elements is off, or it comes very easily into cringe or into corny or too much. But
it certainly does.
Yeah.
I know my fair share.
And sometimes we love that as well. We can, that's, well, as musical people, the thing that I consider, like, as I think about how I want to talk about musicals with the internet, the thing that I keep coming back to, like, as the sort of, and I don't know if it's a full one-to-one, but it's like anime, right? Where it's like, it's huge. Like, there's so much. And so it'd be like somebody being like, I hate anime. It's like, well, that's like, like all of this shit. Like, and so it's like,
that's a big statement.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a big old statement to say that.
Right. So it's like musicals, but at the same time, like the stuff that like anime that you can kind of show anyone that like really works. You know what I mean? Like, or like, the more, I don't even know if you want to say mainstream, but the more arty, I don't know, like I'm thinking like a Miyazaki or like something, like it's not really anime or whatever, but you know what I'm saying. But it's like that's all those elements working together so well. And musicals, it's just hard to do it right. But you get to the point where if you love them, right, like you listen to them all the time, you see them all the time, you perform in them, that you love the sort of cringy and the stuff that like doesn't work, or the stuff that's kind of weird, or like why is that like or some weird relic of its times that like endures or stuff like that. It's not one-to-one. I'm sorry, that's a tangent. But
I mean, I feel that to some extent, because it's like we've all been, us who have performed like on stage and just belted the worst, sourest note that you've ever heard. And then you're like, all right, well, how do you walk away from that and get off stage? And let me tell you, those are the best videos. You'll love seeing those.
Oh, man. Yeah, when I took some time off from theater early in the decade, and then when I got back into it, when I moved to the D.C. area, I did a community theater for a while to kind of get my feet wet, and oh man, we love those. And I do, and I'm a genuine, and this is the other thing about me with theater is that I am all theater equally incredible. It's equally miraculous at every level, from like preschool pageant to all the way up to like a giant Beyonce homecoming, which is theater, by the way. That's
to like
I'm serious. How is homecoming not theater?
There's a stage and play. There is good things and bad things to be taken away from it.
Yeah. And right. Okay, sorry. Tangent already. We're already going on tangents. We're going to move on this quiz. We got to get to know Yonkler and his musical background. So here's a good one. What is your musical theater archetype? And someone who has performed musicals, But it doesn't even necessarily have to be like what you've played or like what you'd be cast as. Like, what is your persona like in your life? If your life was to break out into a musical, as we all constantly wish it would, what would your musical theater archetype be? Ingenue, villain, sidekick / friend, character actor / comic relief / old, or other specify. And you are familiar with the archetypes.
Old.
Yeah. Well, that's like a type. It's all of those things at once, or two of the three, or one of the three, but they will serve the same function in the show. But yeah, as someone who has performed musicals, you're familiar with archetypes. What is yours?
Usually when I was in shows, I would be sort of like a comedic archetype, or just sort of like a character actor. Is like, hey, Waka Waka, wasn't that scene before great?
Mm-hmm.
But I do feel like a villainous sort of comedic role is the best. Just like a real sort of hammy chewing on the scenery.
You know,
that's my bread and butter, baby.
Who I want to play are the mobsters in Kiss Me Kate. Do you know that? Do you know that show?
Ooh,
that's an old show.
Brush up, yes, Shakespeare.
That's like an amazing, and they're not really villains, but they are like the heavies or whatever, and they're like these threats in the show, and that is a great comic relief part. Yeah.
Anytime you get to just kind of put on your gangsta voice,
right.
like Guys and Dolls.
Yeah. Oh, Guys and Dolls. That's my favorite old musical. My favorite like old.
Shoot crap! Come on.
Yeah, I got the horse right here.
His name is Paul Revere. Oh my goodness!
Genuinely,
I open the door and sing that, the whole house would be in here finishing it.
Genuinely, one of the first musicals I did in middle school, and so I've just been doing. And I think the reason that I could do that New York voice was that growing up, all that I literally watched once a week, Newsies, the movie, Christian Bale.
Sure.
Love Newsies, and I still love Newsies. I can't watch they did the stage adaptation, and they have that on YouTube, and I can't watch it because I hate the changes they make. I hate the changes in the Newsies stage.
Changes.
The movie's great. I will defend that movie, but just to tip my hand, it's not the best musical of the past 40 years. If you're thinking that's the one, no. It was dethroned.
Sorry, it's not Newsies.
It was dethroned.
Stick around.
By what movie? Well, you'll find out. I love the Newsies movies. Also, I think a lot of my left-wing politics were rooted in loving Newsies as a kid, and I am also not kidding about that. My just natural love of unions. Like as a kid, I was like, well, yeah, a bunch of people getting together and like fighting for their shit together. Yeah. And it was just like...
You just got your parents in the back of the boy's not right. He's just sitting there watching Newsies all day.
I'm like the kid that like Rush Limbaugh or Sean Hannity was warning against, like, these Hollywood, they're showing these left-wing propaganda. And I was like, yeah. And it worked.
You're like, I'm the one you see in your nightmares, baby.
Yeah. It worked on me. Christian Bale got me to just love unions forever. Okay.
You're a lifetime member.
I am. Because even though we ain't got hats or badges, we're a union just by saying so. So, Yonkler, as a member of the Musical Theater is Good Actually union, it's just you and Kate and me so far. So it's just people who have appeared on Musical Theater is Good Actually. We're a union just by saying so. So welcome to the union.
Wonderful. The best club I've ever been a part of.
Well, I wouldn't want to have any club that will have me as a member.
See, that's a character voice. That's that. Okay. How do you musical theater? Okay, we've kind of gotten into this a little bit.
Everyone in the chat's going crazy.
They're going
impression.
Nuts. Did he just resurrect Groucho himself from the dead?
What?
So we talked about this a little bit. How do you musical? So you listen to them in the car, but you've also performed them. So give me a Cliff's Notes on your background with musicals too, like in your through your life.
Sure. So I was born and raised in New York, in Tarrytown, New York, and I
Mm.
lived there for about 10 years. And my mother and I would just always ride into the city and see shows. And that was just like, it was the best thing to just go and see shows with mom. And that's the seed. That's how it was planted. I saw it and I was like, well, that's what I want to do. It's the coolest thing in the world.
Yeah, I
Uh,
mean, I really think it's
yeah.
it's as simple as that. Like, if you can go as a kid or go, at a young age and see a few shows, like, and have it be a part, like that, I don't think it's a tough sell, really. But
Mhm. Yeah.
but there's the rub is that, and the downside of theater is that it's very, the access to it for everybody is not always there.
Sure.
But if you can go,
And it's
and if,
getting harder.
right, and they try to do their programs, and you can rush, and those sort of things are good if you're in the know on it. But if you're a family, like wanting to plan a trip and go see it and take your kids, and things, you're not going to try to do the rush and shit like that.
Yeah.
So, and it's more tickets, it's more
Just everyone
expensive.
scrambling with their student IDs and be like, can I see Matilda for $20?
Yeah.
Everyone should rush shows. It's the greatest thing on earth.
Yeah, but sometimes you just like, I mean, I've just gone and I've just like, what can I see at the TKTS or like on Today Tix or whatever, and you can get like really good seats on like day of.
Yeah, if you're lucky enough to be in the city for a few days and to just kind of play that game, sometimes the reward is wonderful.
Yeah, I mean, I don't get up there much. Last thing on Broadway I saw was Fun Home. And I saw it with like almost the
Ooh,
entire
okay.
original cast. Only the kids had been subbed out because aging. But like
Okay.
Cerberus, Judy Kuhn, like all of them, they're amazing. It was great. But still my favorite, not my favorite Janine Tesori, still that's going to be Caroline or Change. Sorry.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. Sorry.
The last thing I saw on Broadway was Oh Hello with John Mulaney and Nick Kroll. Not quite a musical, but it was all right to see him just
Correction,
kinda take a piss at theater.
Yonkler, correction. The last thing I saw on Broadway was Oh Hello. Correction.
Really? Oh, wonderful.
I forgot about that trip. I forgot my timeline. I got it mixed up. So that was after I saw Fun Home, and I also saw the Falsettos revival that same. We did a twofer.
God.
Yeah.
Wow.
Borlay's
That's
not my
very cool.
favorite, but the Brandon Uranowitz that played the therapist character, Harrison will tell me what it is in the chat. He was incredible. That guy, and he won the Tony. But yeah, Oh Hello was amazing. I love Oh Hello. Everybody, if you haven't seen Oh Hello, I mean, that is on Netflix, and that is a good. Who was your guest when you saw Oh Hello?
So it was just it was a person in the audience, and she was like very much kind of getting like under Mulaney's skin, and Kroll was like riding that energy, and it rocked. It was very funny. Did you have a guest of note?
Yeah, so I did ask you so I could say who my guest was. I'm gonna be honest.
You baited me. You got me.
Because it's someone cool, and it was Amy Sedaris, and it was very, very cool.
Oh my God.
It was really
That
cool.
is very cool. I'm intensely jealous.
Yeah, that is, yeah. So I was like, when she came out, I was like, if I, like, you had said, like, who would your ideal guest be of, like, 5 people that I know are in New York that could maybe be the guests, she probably would have been on my list. Like, I probably would have put
Nail on the head.
And then-
That's incredible.
There she was. So that was... That was great. Okay.
Oh wow.
So, so when did you? What about your history with like performing musicals? When did that? When did you transition from wanting to do it now?
So the bug kind of like took over immediately, and I was just doing like sort of like community theater, just sort of like dinner theater, where it would be like just like a musical review. There wouldn't even be like a narrative, just to kind of be like, this is how it is being on stage, and this is just to see if the thing works.
Mm-hmm.
But then I moved to Orlando, Florida, and I went to a a high school there that has like a magnet theater program, and I was lucky enough to audition and get in.
That's
and
awesome.
that is where the bulk of the musicals and the performances happened.
And that's an awesome, awesome time. 'Cause that's also when I fell in love with doing musicals. Was like, yeah. So wait, that was like high school, you said, or
Yeah. Yes.
yeah? No, that was like, I like when I was going into high school, I was thinking that I wanted to be like a screenwriter, or like do like film, like go into film school eventually was what I was thinking at the time. And then on a high school trip to New York, saw Les Mis for the first time, saw like live musical theaters for the first time, and I'd been
I
performing.
mean, that show will do it to you.
I'd been performing in musicals like in middle school and everything, and I liked musicals, and I liked listening to them and singing them, but like that was when it clicked that it was like, oh, it could be that, and like, and that's like a sort of thing that you could reach for, of like, yeah, that level. So yeah, and so I did a
You
lot.
saw Cosette singing Castle on a Cloud, and you were just like, "This is the life for me."
Yeah, so I just like, and immediately from then I came home. If there's any DC area people watching, I came home from that trip. I looked just on a whim in the like Washington Post like section where they like actually at the time listed auditions, and Toby's, which is a dinner theater out here, but they also run a teen professional program and like little like teen theater program. They were doing the very first Les Mis student edition, because you remember when everyone you did Les Mis, right? I'm assuming, just like
Yes, in high school.
right,
Yeah,
because it was that time.
junior year.
When did you when did you graduate high school?
2011.
Oh, okay,
That's
yeah.
right. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So like that. So that this would have been, because I'm an old man, no, but this would have been 2002 when I did this, and so it was the very 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 well, it's like one of three or something that was
Nice.
like before it was even officially released to get to like try
Like hot off the presses.
yeah. And so that was, and then I did that with a bunch of people my age, and then like doing the show together, and I could see, yeah, when you start doing it, it's the experience of doing the shows is also like a way to just never look back, and the camaraderie, and there's like nothing that compares, I think.
Mhm. Yeah, 100%. I talk to those people to this day still. I rope some of them to tuning into the show. They're probably like, "Who the hell is Yonkler?" You know me by my government name. Chase. That's an exclusive.
Folks. Well, now we know. Why he hides his name. He doesn't want you to know he's the bank. He is the bank. He's the Chase Bank. No, we're not doxing. No doxing Yonkler. Don't dox Yonkler. Don't say his full name. If you know it in the chat, keep it secret. Keep it secret. Keep it safe. We're back to Lord of the Rings. So did you? So how long did you just perform through high school? Did you go do it in college at all, or what path did you take from there?
So I did musical theater because that was kind of like the main thing in high school for our program. There were other like actual plays and one acts and so on, but musicals were the best. Then I got into Cal Arts, and Cal Arts doesn't do musicals. They really don't like them. They're just like, well, this isn't cool if it's not German expressionism.
Yeah, neither did my college really. My college didn't do very much when I first started there. They do a bit more now, but even still, I don't know if they might do one musical a year now. But at the time when I was there, it was like one every other year. So I was also in the run when the Urinetown rights became available. So that was the musical we did.
Oh, okay.
The Officer Lockstock, a very very fun role.
Nice.
So, but mostly, yeah, it was learn about Brecht and learn about Stanislavski. And
Yeah, just get your American canon, your Shakespeare, your
Arthur Miller,
stuffy
and,
wuffs.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, we can still feel good and do theater, guys.
Right.
It's still an option.
Well, but that was true. But like then, I do think Yonkler, we're so similar in a lot of ways, because I do think that when I went to college, I kind of internalized like musicals are lesser than kind of because of that sort of whole attitude of that they're not serious, they're not they're in no way doing the Stanislavski thing, right? They're not trying to
Right. They're like, what journey does Skimbleshanks go on?
right, you're not trying to
Pay
completely
attention.
like
Quite a journey.
bring the real lived human experience to life by, singing about Starlight Express or whatever. So but yeah, and then I didn't do musicals. I mean, but we did my freshman year, I did a student production of Hedwig and the Angry Inch, and that was incredible. That was really fun. And so that was a musical I got to do early.
That sounds very cool.
Yeah, and I was like 18 years old baby, like no business doing that role. Should not have done it, but it was great. And it was great. But mostly, not all the musicals. And then I didn't really do them even after college when I was doing school. Like we would do a lot of shows with music. Alex in the chat, we got to give credit to Alex, did direct a student-directed production over the summer when we were in college of The Who's Tommy. That was great. And that was
very cool.
It's really, really good.
All right, Alex.
Yeah. But so we would do musicals, but they would be like that. Like even that was like, this is a rock concert staging. Like we weren't doing full musicals unless it was a student production of Pippin or whatever. But like then it wasn't really until I got like back into doing community theater, because that's just what I was around, and I was like, I missed singing. I realized I missed like all the musical shit, and I think it's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Also,
you're really missing when it's gone.
And one of Aristotle's like key components of theater or whatever we all know is spectacle. It's a really important one. And as long as they were doing theater, like back in the Greeks, they were always having music as a part of it. They were always having it be a part of a whole ritual, singing, dancing, thing. Like
a whole damn chorus.
Exactly. Back to the earliest recordings of theater, they were always doing musical theater. So to those
production value, baby.
So yeah. I know, and it's a whole, but at the same time, I understand the acting teacher's opposition, because it's a whole different skill set. Like something that my acting teachers used to tell me all the time was, don't ever practice a monologue in the mirror, like looking at yourself, because then you're just going to be like emulating performance. And it took me like 5 years of performing musical theater again before it hit me that people were always like, your like face is way too much, and like you're like doing, and I was like, oh fuck, I should be singing in the mirror just to like see how it's coming across. Because when you're singing, you're not like, you have to make the sounds, like you have to like contort your mouth, and you have to do these things. So it's a really different, it's a whole different set of skills. So I can see how they aren't relevant to each other, but I don't know. I think it's useful to learn both.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like a lot of the times they'll break it up, at least in the college circuit, where it's just like, this is a theater program. This is a musical theater program, where it's like, sure, yes, I get that, but it's like, let's just do at least like a spring musical or something.
Yeah, no, but there are a lot of programs, like yours and the one that I went to, where it's just like, oh, we have to do a musical every once in a while, and the only reason that they do, and you want to know the reason why they do it though, and they'll always do it, at least sometimes, it's because it's also the only theater that fucking sells. Let's be real here. Let's be real.
Yeah.
People aren't coming out to see another fucking 12 Angry Men at the, Sandusky State or whatever. Like, but will they fucking go out and see Hello Dolly? Yeah, they will.
Every damn time.
Yeah, fucking get the van to the senior center and bring them straight over. They'll clap like seals and love it.
Good luck getting a seat opening weekend.
Yeah.
Good luck.
No, and it's true. This is an absolutely true story about my college, and then I'll shut up about my college for the rest of the night. Is the year that we did Urinetown, it was the highest selling show like in the history of our theater to that point. It was sold out every night, every seat of like a 500 seat auditorium. Not huge, but like a decent sized auditorium. could not get a seat, completely sold out. The production, I don't think it was that great, but I mean, there was really great talent like in the show. Like some of my friends are awesome, but there
Sure.
was things about the direction, whatever. But the next semester did all of our dream shows of Angels in America, and
Oh my god, Mr. Kushner.
basically yes. Which, by the way, the reason the show is at 8 is because of the line in Angels in America from the Roy Cohn character, theater's always at 8. So this show's always at 8. Eastern, the only time zone.
Beautiful.
As we all know.
And we
That-
call that an Easter egg.
That's right. So theater's always at 8, but Angels in America lost every single bit of money that we made from Urinetown. Like it did. There were 7 people in the cast, or I think, or how many? Alex, how many people in the cast? 9, maybe 9. And we would have shows where there would be more people in the cast than in the audience. Like, and it's a fucking
Yep.
3.5 hour show, 2 intermissions, like crying, sweating, and then just people like, I'm required to see this for class, and it's like 6 of them.
Class credit.
Yeah. So anyway, but it's a great show, and if you haven't seen Angels in America,
People on stage are having a great time.
The
I could
HBO
be performing
miniseries,
to an empty
if you
room,
haven't-
I'd still be having a blast.
I know. Yeah, I mean, well, I've got an appreciation for really small houses theater and really just an intimate, like a few people is awesome. Because, yeah, I did a lot of that after college when I went to Chicago when we were doing a lot of storefront theater. Have you done any theater after college? Do you still
No.
dip your toe?
Not really. I'm trying to think. That was like such a quick no.
Nope.
I feel like I don't really think so. And there's like I've got friends who are making it and everything. It's just, PA world is crazy, but I feel like after having done this show now, there's going to be an itch where it's like, I want to be on the stage again.
Well, we
So-
are doing the Jack AM production of Annie. I haven't actually talked with
Get me
Kate
in
about
there.
that,
Get
but
me in there.
I think you'd be a great rooster. I can see
I
which
would be
is
the worst baritone you ever done seen.
Rooster is the comedic villain. So there you go.
Hey, I'm there. I'll audition fairly like anybody else.
I can definitely see you as a rooster. All right. Well, that's cool though. But you still have the love. You still listen to him, and that's great that you still like rekindle that connection for yourself.
Of course.
And even though the internet and everybody are trying to tell you this is lame and stupid, you say, yeah, I don't know, but it slaps though. It's still fun to listen to.
Yeah. It's like I've seen enough to know that it is not lame and stupid.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's certainly it can be, and more often than not, it is. But sometimes,
Even so, that's fun.
and tiptoeing towards our main topic, we have to get through this quiz. I won't get into it yet, but I think sometimes the very best is the musical that, like, 1 or 2 decisions different, it's the worst thing in the world. But like, it shouldn't work and it does somehow. It's like it's so corny sometimes that it's like it's glorious and it's wonderful. But we'll get into that in a bit.
Yes.
Let's buzz through these last couple. What musicals should be more popular and beloved, and what musicals should be less popular, in your opinion?
Ooh, great question. What musical? Let's do less beloved and popular. I was trying to think of a musical where I'm like, I don't like that, and I haven't
He
heard
loves
someone
musicals,
sing something
folks.
from this show in years. I'm not a big fan of Hair, the musical.
Sacrilege.
I know.
Well, that's
I know.
very production dependent, and ooh man, is
I'm
it
not
easy
saying
to
like,
have?
hey, let's never see it again.
Mm-hmm. What productions of Hair have you seen? Did you see it on Broadway?
No, I haven't seen the Broadway production. There was one that I saw in high school that was done by one of our rival theater high schools. But
High school
like,
doing
it
hair.
was a
High
good
school doing
production.
hair. Oh my god. Fuck me.
But, you
That
know,
is that is a tragedy.
They had to steal performers from other high schools to make it happen. So,
But also, how many lyrics did they change? Jesus Christ. There's a song called Sodomy. Sodomy. Fellatio. This is a real song.
It's very great to see watered down school productions that deal with like actual issues and subjects.
Hair is very production dependent. You have to see or be in a production, and it's very easy to do it badly. It is much easier to do it badly. The way to do it correctly is your cast should feel like a cult by the time that it's open, because that's like how it is there. And there's no way there's no way the most talented high schoolers at fucking Stage Door or whatever could do it right. It's you need to be you need to have a little bit of life, but not too much. Like it's like such a I guess like a lot of the characters are supposed to be teenagers, so maybe I guess it could work. But a high school,
But, you know, there's a high school director out there watching this that's like, I'm going to show you Google
and I
and
know-
Yonkler.
well, and I know
I'll show you.
And I know people that run like youth theaters, like teen, more professional theaters, where and that's different because I think that's like the parents are getting them into it. They like know this is a passion and they're aware of the subject matter. But a high school is never going to do the full hair. Well, I mean, literally. They can't do the full hair because the entire audience would be arrested. But
That'd be a little too hot for TV.
it's that's the most elaborate To Catch a Predator ever. It's like a high school production of hair, and as it gets to the scene, it's like people just like come through with flashlights. Like, okay, who's really looking to see? It's coming to the Act 1 finale. Who's trying to see?
Yes, just try to show you to your seat. They just bring you out to like the paddy wagon.
Yeah, hair is one of my favorites.
We got another theater sicko.
Alex is shouting out the soundtrack, and I have to say Hair is another one of my favorite driving soundtracks as well, because that's one that I'm. I brought this up to Kate last week that I'm also like to direct, and so I'm conceiving and directing the show in my head as I watch Hair, because Hair is really like, it's a show like another show people don't like that I do like, Godspell, where there aren't two identical productions, like people, or if there are, that's bad. You've done it wrong. Like the idea is that everybody makes it together kind of thing, and I love shows like that. So that's why I stand Hair. I stick up for Hair. And the music in Godspell is amazing. My hot take is that Steven Schwartz got progressively worse with each show. But
sorry, Steven.
But Defying Gravity does slap, does go hard. I do not.
Today's theme would let us know that.
I mean, the real heads know. All right. Okay, and then finally, our final question here, and the most important, and I want you to seriously consider this and really answer honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Of these options, how would you, Yonkler, measure a year? Daylights, midnights, sunsets, or cups of coffee? And show your work. Daylights, midnights,
and
sunsets,
just so I can give
cups
full
of coffee.
attention to this, I want to just shout out real quick. A musical that I don't think gets enough attention is Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox Story. It's a movie musical. It's very silly. I love it. And then
not
also,
the best movie musical of the past 40 years, but it is up there. Although I don't know if I consider
it's a good time.
I don't know if I consider it a movie musical, but we can't. It's fine. I mean, it is. But
I just want more people to see it. I think there are good performances and great songs.
Oh, they are amazing songs, and it's one of the funniest movies. Yeah, if you haven't seen Walk Hard, you need to see that. Yeah, that's true. So how are you measuring a year, though?
How am I going to measure a year? Got to be those cups of coffee. Cups of coffee.
Cups of coffee. That is 2 for 2. I'm sorry, I was looking at the chat, and typing into the chat, and then I didn't even realize that you answered. See,
Oh,
look,
that's quite
I'm
all right.
still
I didn't
learning
know
all
if there
these
was like
things.
a dramatic pause where it was
Cups
like,
of coffee.
you're waiting for a better take of me to say, hold on, we'll do one to the camera. Cups of coffee.
You're telling me
Let's see if that one lands.
cups of coffee? If people don't know, I'm wearing this Mandalorian hat in honor of Yonk for Star Wars. Please tweet hashtag Yonk for Star Wars. We're trying to get Yonk in Star Wars.
Hey, wouldn't it be great if your internet pal Yonkler was in Star Wars?
Don't you want to
Hashtag
help
Yonk for Star Wars.
help make Yonk? And also, there's so many Star Wars things. Just throw him in one of them. Come on, get Yonk in a Star War. Come
Throw a
on,
mask on me. I
Yeah.
can bop around in the background.
let's do it. Oh, Alex is very upset. Okay, next week we will have those in correct order, Christina. We are sorry. So, our good friend Christina, they pointed out here in the chat that the options are in the wrong order. It should be daylight, sunsets. And Alex, I mean, come on, it's in the order of the day. You got them in the wrong order, and they should be in the order that they happen in the
Love to
day.
have my cup of coffee.
Like if I was memorized,
Right at
if I
sunset.
haven't done hair, but if I did hair, and and everybody sings this song in the show, they all literally all sing it together. So if I had to memorize these lyrics, that's how I would. That's my mnemonic device I'm using, is that it's the order of the day. Daylights, sunsets, midnights, cups of coffee. I couldn't proofread. I wasn't gonna like check on Genius. You're
Gugu
the
seems a little pressed.
Alex. I'm not gonna check Rap Genius because you are the Rent Genius. I'm just gonna trust you on Rent lyrics because you grew like Alex was obsessed with Rent. He was a big Rent head. He was in that. And I'm kind of
Rent heads have.
I
found
wasn't
the
as much a
stream.
Rent head in my high school years. I actually kind of came to Rent a little late through my other friends that loved it, and then that kind of made me listen to it more, and I got more of an appreciation. And it is also like you kind of have to give it its props for where it is in the canon, and the 90s were such a terrible creative time for musicals especially, and
Yeah.
and he really made a thing there, and who knows how well it really holds up, but I'll stick up for Rent. It's not my favorite show, but I will always stick up for Rent. All right.
Yeah, we'll stick up for Rent.
and we'll
won't
stick up for
pay
Rent.
it though.
That's right, we're not gonna pay it. All right. Think twice before you poo-poo it. Okay. You know what? I was thinking a lot about this over the week because the last week I talked shit on the lyric "Think twice before you poo-poo it," and I've come around on it as I think of it. It is a good lyric. It's a good lyric because it's annoying, and because Benny is annoying, and it is like, ugh, did you really say that? And I think that's intentional. And so you know what? It's a good lyric.
Did Benny just say poo poo?
Did he just say
In the theater?
think twice before you poo-poo it? But he's a yuppie asshole. So like, oh, think twice before you poo-poo it is actually, it's a good lyric, Jonathan. Good work. Good work. Intentional cringe. It's intentional cringe. And sometimes the cringe in musicals is intentional. And people are like, ugh. And it's like, yeah. Look at what strong of an emotion the musical's making you feel. Even if it's cringe.
Was the playwright's intention
They
to make
want-
the audience cringe?
They want you cringing. They want you on the edge of cringing. All right. Let's stop beating around that fucking bush here, okay? It's time.
Oh my goodness.
We have to talk about the main topic here. We spent an entire hour just on bullshit. I'm sorry. I'm not good at managing the time. I'm like just looked at the time and I was like, I just have too much fun talking to Yonkler, y'all. All right.
Shucks.
I saw Yonkler do a tweet like a month ago or a few weeks ago. Time doesn't mean anything anymore. It was sometime before last week. And he was watching a movie. And the movie he was watching is one of my favorite movies, especially a movie musical. This is a movie musical that I watched initially to laugh at it. I'll be honest. I watched it because my wife, Lady Gugu, Abby, and I, we like to watch cringe movies too. Like we like to watch a movie that we think is going to be really bad to just see what it is and how long we can endure it. And so that's how I watched this movie at 1st.
Mm-hmm.
And it got to a point, and it wasn't very long into it, but it got to a point where I was like, oh, I really like this. And then it was like halfway through the movie or towards the end, and I was like, no, wait, I fucking love this. And it's, to me, in some ways, the platonic ideal of a movie musical, and it's something that people don't know how to do well. And actually, most movie musicals, especially of the past 25, 30 years, are shit. They're bad, if I'm being completely honest. But this one gets it.
Sorry, Hollywood.
Just out of nowhere, gets it so right. And folks, hang on, I do have a drum roll sound effect ready, so hopefully we're able to hear this. Folks, this is the movie musical we were talking about is Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again. Mamma Mia 2, ladies and gentlemen. Two, not one.
Here we go again.
Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again. The next lyric in the song, and also the next chapter in the story of Donna and the Dynamos. Rest in peace, Donna.
Oh my God.
I mean, and that's not a spoiler, folks.
Yeah, if you haven't seen it, yeah. It's the first thing you see. You get this movie, and they're just like, Meryl's cold.
It's like, I was thinking about it, and it is a lot like A Christmas Carol. The first words of that, the Marleys were dead to begin with. The Meryl is dead to begin with, and and it happens. They do not ever say how. They do not even suggest,
Yep.
Was she sick? Was it a boat accident in the fucking Greek Isles? Who knows? She's dead, though.
Who knows?
They just...
It's part of the mystery.
They just start from the point of view of she's gone, and it's sad, and we're sad about it. But we're going to make an entire movie that's a celebration of her. It's Mamma Mia 2. Folks,
Here we go again.
musicals don't get sequels very often. Let's be real here. And musicals do not get adapted. Musicals almost never, unless they're animated, start as movies. Not coming from a stage show. This was not an adaptation. The first movie was of the big Broadway smash. One of the very, well, not first, but one of the that started this era of jukebox musicals that's still going. Which is for those who don't know, because you got to learn here on Musical Theater is Good actually. A jukebox musical.
Drop a little knowledge.
Let me. I just realized I just used some vocab, so let me define it. A jukebox musical is a musical that is. The music is an existing music artist catalog. So Moving Out for Billy Joel and Mamma Mia for, of course, ABBA. And folks, like, let's just be honest here. And this is an official position of Musical Theater is Good, actually. And I don't feel like this is even a hot take. And if anybody who thinks it's a hot take can get the fuck out. ABBA fucking rules. So... And I don't love
ABBA fucking rules.
And I don't love Mamma Mia. I don't love the first one. I watched it exactly once, and even though Mamma Mia 2 is my favorite movie musical of the past 40 years, if people are wondering, All That Jazz is still the king. I mean, that's why I say past 40 years, because I don't put it up against anything from the 70s. I don't even put it up against The Wiz.
When you said that, it was like immediately my brain went to The Wiz.
I mean, Sidney Lumet, man, that's like a really good director. Except I don't like some of his direction of that movie. There's like so many times where he's just like, put a camera in the corner, like when they're in Oz and it's just like a whole like million of them in a circle, and he's just like, just put the camera in the corner of the studio. I don't know. That is a good movie musical. And
but you are right in that the first Mamma Mia, not crazy about it.
No,
not my favorite movie musical.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, and so here, Eva Mafone in the chat saying that the first one was so bad, she loves ABBA as well, but the first one was so bad that she never tried watching the sequel. But I cannot recommend it enough. If
you have to try.
If you have any affection for ABBA, watch it. If you have any affection for just fun musical numbers, if like you are down for just, I just want to see some really cool like musical like, and funny like and inventive,
It's just a
really good
2 hours.
really good choreography, like really great numbers, and like, and you're like, this is so great because it's stupid and it's not about anything, and then it gets you. And I'm gonna tell you
Like
now,
a freight train.
and Yonkler, I don't think I'm gonna say this off the bat. I don't think we should talk about the final scene. I mean, not the credits, not the credits. The credits are, we can talk about
Okay.
those because those are crazy and fun. But
I'm gonna talk about Super Trooper.
the final scene kills me. I sob every time. Every time. It works. The movie,
Yep.
you're like, oh wait, this movie did have a real emotional point. And okay, well, let's just get into it, Yonkler. You found a very, you sent me a video earlier where you found, actually maybe I can pull it up, where you found a commentary from the special features of Mamma Mia 2, where the screenwriter Richard Curtis talks about his inspiration, and share that with the people of how he got the idea and the basic genesis of what the movie is.
So he was talking to, and I'm so bad with names, it's either Julie or Judy Kramer, who is the producer, and she produced the actual stage production on Broadway and the first film. And she was just like, what do we do for another movie? And
I thought he said he was talking to his daughter.
So she talks to Richard, and Richard's in the car with his 22-year-old daughter.
Okay.
Who says, all you have to do, it's so easy, just do The Godfather 2. So this is what we're dealing with. It is Mamma Mia
folks,
2.
It is
with Godfather 2 elements.
With Lily James as Robert De Niro, who's the young Marlon Brando of this, and she is so fucking good. She is so good, just so
absolutely incredible.
Absolute, and the whole thing of
really destroys. This
if people don't know
movie.
the basic premise of the first Mamma Mia, so we can get to the sequel, is Amanda Seyfried as Meryl Streep's daughter. They live on this Greek isle, like beautiful, idyllic, isles in Greece, where they run this like little bed and breakfast hotel thingy. And she doesn't know who her dad is, but she knows it's one of 3 men, and she invites them all to her wedding. So that she can try to find out who her real dad is. And over the course of the first musical, she finds out that they're all her dad, and she loves them all. And something that I love about the genesis of this sequel, and while we're talking Yonk for Star Wars, is it also kind of reminds me of like the Rogue One appeal of that premise, is like, what people always saw as a kind of plot hole or whatever is like a way to retcon, of like, oh no, there's a reason that it's so easy to blow up the Death Star. That was put in there intentionally, blah, blah, blah. And like, okay, that's a cool way to do that. And I feel like this sequel, after this musical has already been a global smash hit for 15 years or whatever, or more, was kind of sounds like she was like a bit of a, like getting around, like what was going on with that back in the day. And that's what this movie is it's, and you, as you follow her along, it's really awesome to just see a frank and good portrayal of a woman's sexuality that's completely non-judgmental. And she does have sex with all 3 of these men, and it totally makes sense each time. You're like, she should do that. You support it, each one. Ooh, and oh boy.
It's the summer of '79, and this was just, we're having fun, we're finding out who we are. It's a great movie.
And this young ensemble, oof. I mean, Lily James is the only one that really has like a lot of other credits, or at least at the time. I think maybe some more of them have. But ooh, they are smoking hot. And they are also all extremely charming.
What a group of lookers.
Extremely charming. Oh my God. The young Christine Baranski and young Julie Walters, who are they are Meryl Streep's like best friends, or they're a girl group called Donna and the Dynamos, and those are the Dynamos. And the young versions are so good. Oh my god, young Christine Baranski forever. She's so fucking good.
And they do such a good job of emulating those characters of Tanya and Rosie. And
and it really makes you kind of have an appreciation for all of these characters, actually, and this world. And you see, like, oh yeah, I mean, of course it's kind of a flimsy musical premise, sure, but look at how, like, if we actually invest in that truth and we say, no, like, well, let's go along with this, let's really, like, because the whole idea is that Donna is just this effervescent, like, beautiful creature that everybody just falls in love with, and she's so charming. And to actually get to see like the Genesis story, it's like X-Men Origins Donna.
Donna class.
Right. Well, and literally the first scene that we see young Donna is graduation from the university or whatever.
From Oxford University.
Where she's and it's great because also the movie does this thing where, you know, the Mamma Mia 1 soundtrack is great, has great ABBA songs, but there are some ABBA songs that are just harder to work in organically into a show. But a graduation performance of So I Kissed the Teacher, like, hello. And she
Wonderful.
And
Wonderful. That's how you're opening the movie.
Right. And it's so fun, and it's like hilarious. There's like when the other like professors join in and sing too. It's really funny. I was like laughing at it, and I was like, and then I was like, oh, it wants me to laugh at this, and I am, because it's good. Like, that was like the first time I was watching it, I was like, yeah, this is really funny.
It's big and it's boisterous, and it's like, look, we're gonna have fun.
Like, yeah, we're gonna have fun because this is a story about a woman who is fun, and about like her impact on these other people and stuff is what it ends up being.
And everyone around her, yeah.
Right, and so then Mamma Mia 2, everybody. I keep like jumping all around. The story of this one is Meryl's dead to begin with. Donna has died between the first movie and now, and it's fairly recent. And they're reopening the hotel for the because they closed it after she left to whatever, because now Amanda Seyfried, what's her name? Sophie? Is that the character?
Sophie, name? Yes.
Sophie, Amanda Seyfried's character, is going to take over the ownership and running the hotel. So they're having a big grand opening that's also kind of a memorial for her, remembrance of her mom. And her conflict is that it seems like it's not going right. Pierce Brosnan, her one dad, lives on the island now, so he'll be there, but her other two dads can't be there, and it's looking like her husband can't be there either because he's going to hotel school in New York.
Hotel school?
Dominic Cooper has to go to hotel school, and will he be able to make it? And then he gets offered a job in America, and will he actually stay there, or will they keep chasing her mom's crazy dream? And so that's where we start from.
Oh my goodness.
But then Christine Baranski and Julie Walters, I'll just keep saying the actors' names, come and visit her, and they sort of go back in their memory, and you start sort of revisiting how they kind of all came together. And then you have So I Kissed the Teacher, and then, I mean, well, we can also say that, like, Mamma Mia, from the jump, from the first movie, what a fucking ensemble. Like, you know, like, they just, like, got some...
In and of itself, it's just so good.
It is, like, the Avengers of, like, old white people or something. Like, it is, like... And they just add to it into, because it's like, now we've added Andy Garcia! Ha!
The younger generations, we have Cher now!
That's right! You weren't expecting Cher, and Cher comes out at the end, like, and it's like, fuck, now Cher is here, and you're already sold at the point that Cher walks out, and you're just like, absolutely bring Cher into this. Yes.
Gugu, can I break for 1 second just to run to the restroom?
We have been going for a long time. Let's take a quick break, and then we'll wrap up our discussion when we get back.
Wonderful.
Real quick break. Just a quick one. We are back, folks.
Oh my goodness.
Got to wrap up this discussion on the greatest movie musical of the past 40 years. Mamma Mia. 2.
Here we go
Mamma
again.
Mia. Here we go again. Just an excellent film. But I was gonna say that in the same vein of songs that were hard to work into the first Mamma Mia that they found a good use for was Waterloo in this one.
100%.
And that's the first of the men that she meets, is the young Colin Firth. Oh yeah, and this is what I was getting into, is that the murderer's row of old white people. We're talking both Pierce Brosnan and Colin Firth. Like, this thing is fucking dripping in daddies. We got daddies everywhere in this. We got British daddies
daddy
galore. Just British daddies out the wazoo.
Daddy on daddy
Just
on daddy.
daddy. And so the first guy that she meets is young Colin Firth, who's very foppish Colin Firthy, nervous guy who is like he like really kind of falls for her quick, but then like they only have a day together or something. So he's like, well, then I gotta go for it now because I can feel that you're the one that I want to lose my virginity to. And it's very, but the way that he like brings it up to her in such like a funny kind of like Colin Firthy way of like, we should do this then, and
Wouldn't it be preferable if
I
you and I could just kiss?
you know, we could have our romance. We just have to have it all in one night then, because you're leaving for Greece tomorrow, or whatever. And then he sings Waterloo, which is one of my favorite numbers in the movie, and he like.
It's where the magic starts to creep in for some of the
so
non-believers. It's Waterloo.
That was
real good.
That was the moment where I was like, okay, I like this. Where like I like wasn't lying to myself anymore. I was like, all right, I do like this. I don't know if I love it yet, but I like this for sure. And the Waterloo, because basically they're in this restaurant and they just have this huge. I didn't pull any clips because I don't want to get muted, but just seek that one out if nothing else, because there's like a huge restaurant production number that is so fun, and it's because they're in France, right? And so they're at this restaurant that's like Napoleon themed restaurant, and so they have all this Napoleon shit around
TGI
to sing a
Napoleon.
song about Waterloo, and they're like dancing around with like French flags and have like the Napoleon hat and shit, and it's so fun.
Just like sword fighting with baguettes and everything. They really just allow themselves to have fun. They're like, oh, you thought we were kissing teachers and riding bikes and having fun? Oh no.
Right. They're like,
Viewer, welcome to Mamma Mia 2.
yeah, and I won't go number by number, but you know, next she meets young Stellan Skarsgård, otherwise known as Stellar Skateboard, if you get that really obscure Paul F. Tompkins reference. And young Stellan Skarsgård, I'm not even gonna lie, y'all, the young Stellan Skarsgård is the hottest one of the three. Like, they are all three hot, but young Stellan Skarsgård wins for me. He wins my prize. But he's like a very charming rogue on a sailboat, and then she meets young Pierce Brosnan, and then they really fall in love, and then she's like, he should stay here with me forever, but then you find out he's already engaged. Oh my god. And she has a fit, throws him out, and is so mad and inconsolable, but she still wants to stay on this island forever. Like, she feels called to it, and then she gets visited by her friends, and then that's when they start performing in this like cafe, and that's when she sings Mamma Mia, the song, and it is like, and it starts as like a really sort of mournful kind of song, and it works. It's really good.
It builds so beautifully.
But I think that, like, sort of what you're saying, that the vein of just like everything is just like for fun, like, and when and they also don't do the thing that I hate in musicals, that movie musicals, modern ones, and like the past 30 years feel the need to do, is if there's a song, it's a dream sequence, or it's like starts internally and then it becomes a musical out there. They do not bother with that shit for a second. They just
like musical rules.
He just jumps up on the chair and starts singing, "When Waterloo, Napoleon did surrender." He just like jumps up on there and he's just singing it immediately. And it's great, because who fucking cares?
Everyone in the restaurant's like, yeah, let's do this.
Right, and everyone's like, oh my gosh, they're having so much fun. I want to have that fun. And you're watching it as the viewer and you're like, I get it. Yeah, absolutely. I would. If I was there, I would just, you know, if you can get it's that sort of musical dream logic. But this is the ultimate, and this is what I always say in musicals, is that if you can let go of whatever, your cynicism, or just, you know, allow yourself to kind of let in that over earnestness that some people find cringy in musicals, that if you
You'll have such a better time.
And Mamma Mia 2 is kind of the ultimate display of that for me, because it's like, you let this movie in and you are going to have a great time, and you're really going to like actually feel something too. It's really cool. And I think that the ultimate show of the just fun is, and it all builds to this, is that when those boats come in, Yonkler, when those boats come in with all the people on the boats.
Oh, it took my breath away the first time I saw it.
I am like,
it's so good.
I am like Kate Raft watching some Newsroom when that happens. I am full chills, whole body, I mean, like, you see all those boats coming in and they're doing like, you can dance. They're like, there's like hundreds of people doing choreographed movements on boats coming in, and then they all meet on the shore and they
jumping
dance
on
up.
the dock.
They dance up
hugging,
from the shore together up into this
throwing
huge
arms
party.
in the air.
It's, folks, you gotta watch Mamma Mia. Here we go again. And then the party is wonderful.
Really is.
And then, surprise, Cher, who plays the grandmother, Meryl Streep's mom.
Oh my goodness.
Which-
Grandma Ruby.
By the way, Cher,
Ever so flighty.
Cher's like, I think, 2 to 4 years older than Meryl Streep. Just like a
chutzpah
just like a funny little
to
thing.
have to ask Cher
Well, but she's
to
like,
play Meryl Streep's mother.
But she does show up, and the whole
The
thing.
fact that she was cool with it is like even better.
Well, she's cool with it because she's like, well, yes, then I will do this if you let me release an album of all ABBA songs, and she did, and they're great.
gonna do my album afterwards.
And I think it was like part of her deal.
So good.
And maybe she didn't have to pay for like the rights or whatever for the songs. Like that was part of how they paid her or something. I don't know. But
one of the special features when they talk about bringing Cher on, like the opening clip is literally Cher just being like, "So my agent called me and said you're doing this movie," and then hung up.
I mean, and this movie was huge. This movie did very well. It did very, very well. And so I do think they're developing, or they're going to make a third one. And I talked to I'll chat my pitch for the third one here, because I talked to you a little bit about this over a DM.
For Mama Thria.
For Mama Thria. Or I also think that it could be called Mamma Mia 3 The Dancing Queen. Is my other title. But so basically, well, let me say more about Cher's character. That Cher is the grandmother. She's Meryl's mom, and she's constantly referred to throughout the movie up to when she appears, because she's like an absent mother. We know that she's a singer, that she's always touring, and that she's just like completely not involved in Donna's life. And it's sort of what makes Donna so independent and free-spirited and everything, is that she was basically on her own, kind of, is what the movie, I think, suggests. And, well, not on her own. She had her two besties. She had her two best Judies, everybody. Don't worry about
Dynamo.
it. That's right. So, like, yeah, so that kind of whole dynamic, and there's, like, a tension. So she shows up, and then Amanda Seyfried's, like, mad. She's like, I didn't even invite you because I didn't think you'd show up. And she's like, oh, I'm never going to miss a party, sweetie. I can't do a Cher. I'm sorry. But that was my attempt at a Cher. But then she's there, and Andy Garcia, who's been throughout the entire movie, and you're like, why even is Andy Garcia in this movie? Not mad to see him. You know, he's looking really, really handsome, a very silver fox. And then you're like, okay, not mad to have Andy Garcia. But then Cher, in clearly a way that is shot so obviously, like, on a soundstage and against a green screen, and it doesn't even matter, and that they like put in
Such
later.
Earnest CGI. I love how like just endearing the bad fireworks
like,
are.
You're like, every number that's been staged up to this point is just like so much fun. Everybody's getting involved, flipping around, dancing, and then Cher is at the top of this staircase, and she looks down and she sees Andy Garcia, and Andy Garcia has mentioned that he had a lost love decades before, and so he's never loved again since that one. And then he goes, oh, and she looks at him, and folks, do you know what's the Cher case? Thank you, Scorpio Mom Jean says the Cher case. That is correct.
Cher case.
The Cher case is extremely iconic in this film, because she looks down at him, and she says, Fernando. The entire movie, Sophie has only called him Mr. Cienfuegos, I think, is his name. And she's only called him that. And so then you say, Fernando. And she sings Fernando. Another one that was hard to work in. They found a way for it. But again,
works.
I'm like laughing at it, but it's really good. Like, I mean, like, what is a better ABBA song for Cher's voice than Fernando? I mean, it's amazing. It's so much fun. And... But then they have their dance number, and it's this extremely slow tango where they're like leaning into each other and then like slowly turning, and it's very intense, and it is cool and good, but it's also funny because like they're on like this platform, this like raised platform in the middle of everyone. It's like everybody's just like watching, and it's like they didn't know what this was gonna be. They were like, we're gonna tempt this in later. But like
just shows up in the last 4 minutes and steals the damn thing.
They made it work with the 1 week they had Cher or whatever, and you know what? Thank God they did. It's amazing. And then the final scene happened, and we aren't going to talk about the final scene because it's it's just very. I just think people should watch it.
It's so worth it. It all builds to something really wonderful.
It's unexpected, and if I told you what it is, if I told you what the scene was, you would be like, that sounds horrible. And I think it's also that thing I say about musicals of like, yes, you could step outside yourself and say, okay, well, this is like what's happening. And when you say it to yourself, you're like, this is stupid. But when you're watching it and experiencing it, because you've allowed yourself to give yourself over to it a bit, you're like, but I'm crying. I am crying. So that's all I will say about the final scene. Because then, speaking of songs that they couldn't find a way to work in, and that there's no way to work in, one of my favorite ABBA songs, they just have and it is just a production number, and there's no story. It's while the credits are rolling. Well, the credits don't even roll. It's the credits roll after it. It's just a closing number. It is a movie with a closing number. That's it. And the entire cast, all the generations, Cher, Seyfried, Lily James, all of them are out there, and they are oh my God, the like older versions are dancing with their younger selves. Please, everybody, look up.
It really is done so well.
You must look up the videos of this, especially Pierce Brosnan and his younger version are really fun. But the most fun is Colin Firth and his young version, because he's like doing this really ridiculous like dance all around him, and then Colin Firth's just like.
But I won't have it. I'm not gonna dance.
But in a way that he's having fun. He's doing a bit, like that's him doing a bit.
You see the smirk.
Right. They are having the best time. You can tell they have fun making these movies. They were also down to do a sequel, and they're going to do a threequel because it made so much money. And this is my pitch.
I hope so. Is that like a real thing that's confirmed?
Well, let me check Microsoft Edge, because I can't open Chrome. Sorry, everybody. This was a part of the
while you're
what
doing
I went
that
through.
real quick. I'll just shoot some things out that I like about the movie.
Oh, absolutely.
Other than it's good. I just really do like how it is kind of this movie of generations between moms and daughters, because the first one is so fixated on dads, where the dads, who is my dad, like, and just how that matters. But this is just so damn good. Some of the transitions between the timelines are legitimately good. Like, you put it in any movie and people would gasp and be like, wow, that's something.
Like I rewatched it earlier this week, and it does do that musical thing so well where like it's commenting on itself. Like it's in conversation with itself, where like musicals do that with the song and the scene, and this does that too, but it also does it with the past and the present, right? And it's like, so, and it's I mean, it sounds like this is some really elevated shit, and it kind of like, when you really think about it, it took a lot of effort to make it seem so stupid and mindless, because it really is pretty sophisticated when you dig into it. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, not at all. But like, another thing too, how I think this pulls so well from stage musicals and like other movie musicals in general is we've talked about how stacked this cast is, and like Meryl Streep and Colin Firth and all these like A-listers. This movie has so many like character actors, like the lady who has the horse, her son who works at the bar,
God.
The guy who checks the passports of everybody, like, and all the time, like
the guy that they go break up the
shine.
They go break up the wedding, and then he comes back later, and then that's like
the whole Apollonia plot.
Yeah,
line.
Apollonia!
It's so good. The payoff is incredible with that.
Right, and it's cool because as you're watching it, you're like, oh, this is just a collection of adventures that she had when she was young. Like, that's sort of what you feel. And then, but it's sort of like, and it's fun on that level, but then you really do see how these do all connect into who she is, like how like these other people feel about her and stuff. It's a really cool movie. Like, it's good. It's really good.
Thought and effort went into this thing, and it and like you're saying, the payoff is incredible. If you're still with us at this point and you haven't seen it, please let me know what you think, because this thing, I haven't shown it to a person that hasn't just sort of been head over heels in love with it afterwards.
Yeah, I know. Like, I've shown it to so many people with a variety of opinions. Alex was one person that's in the chat here. I showed it to him, and I'm like, I think you're gonna love this, and he is a person that is I think more prone to I'm trying to be diplomatic in how I say this, to hate a musical if there's anything that's like over earnest, really. But I could tell that with this movie, because it is a little over earnest, but it really does have a good sense of humor, and it isn't taking itself too seriously at any point, really. So that it really is just a charming, winning movie. I agree. You could show it to anybody, I think. I mean, everybody report back to me next week. Or in the chat on Jack A, or in the chat on Jack AM or something. I want to test this out. And people who do not like musicals at all, I want to see, because to me, it's the platonic ideal. It's like it harkens back to like the classic like Singing in the Rain and shit. Like the classic era of musicals. I mean, not in the type of music, but just in the sort of effervescent like quality of just like how confident it is in these musical numbers, as opposed to like, you know, Chicago, a movie that exists. They made a Chicago movie adaptation, as I mentioned last week, and I certainly mentioned it.
There is a movie adaptation of Chicago that was mentioned.
I certainly mentioned it last week, but in that one they're constantly like imagining that they're on the stage or whatever, and it's or the other thing movie musicals do, the other bad thing they do, is what the Producers movie did. Not the original Producers movie, which is perfect. Because let's remember the arc of the Producers movie. It's also the same arc as the Hairspray movie. It is movie to stage to movie again. And people don't even remember that there was a Producers movie adaptation, because essentially, and I did see the Producers on Broadway, and it essentially was just Susan Stroman, who was the original director choreographer, just like sticking a camera in the original staging, which is weird because
it's a carbon copy.
It's calibrated for a Broadway stage, which is not a movie. Like, and so it's movie musicals don't know how to be both a movie and a musical, and this movie musical does so well.
And that's something that they talked about on the special features for this, where they say that if you look at the choreography and some of the staging for the first Mamma Mia movie, it does sort of mirror the stage production pretty faithfully. And so they were talking about how they were excited to be able to just kind of like, all right, well, this one has to stand on its own, and we have to, you know, we're starting new, you know, from a choreography standpoint, you know. Even though all the tunes are old.
Well, and that's awesome, because like then you're calibrating it for a film, like for that medium, and like that's just like, you know, people knew how to do a lot in, you know, the 40s, 50s, 60s, sure, but like even the people that they have that they get to do the musicals now, oh my god, if I have to see another fucking Rob Marshall musical, that fucking hack. Jesus Christ.
Shut it down. I hope Hollywood never comes back in that case.
Not a single point of view on that man. He does not have just an iota of any kind of aesthetic, or he just is checking boxes. The most, and I do like I do like Chicago. I'm mostly mad about Into the Woods, because what a blown opportunity from a directing standpoint.
Not a fan. You know what? That's what I should have said for my musical earlier instead of Hair.
Oh, you don't like Into the Woods?
Into the Woods. Ugh.
See, now you've
not a big fan.
Now you lost Lady Goo. See, there you go.
Now I'm poking the hornet's nest.
I mean, and you are doing
careful the things you say. Wendy's are listening.
Doing a bit of Sondheim shit talking, so you're on it. I'm gonna let you know you're on thin ice right now, young Claire. Gotta watch yourself, okay? We don't talk.
Sweeney's fine. Raise your razor high.
It's not fine. It's perfect. It's a Swiss watch of a show. It's a Swiss watch of a show. It's a perfectly composed. Oh, that's another. Oh man. Ooh, that is a score. Ooh baby. That score. It's nasty. So now I'm going to talk about my Mamma Mia 3.
Yes.
Which I do have bad news. Because I did research this.
Oh no, no.
Amanda Seyfried adjusts the rumors. Listen, every single person in that movie would say yes in a heartbeat because we want to hang out with each other. That's what we talked about last time. Like, did we ever think that we'd end up here again on an island in Croatia? So yeah, I wish there was a Mamma Mia 3, but I'll tell you what, I've said it before and I'll say it again, and I hope I'm wrong again, but I don't think there are enough ABBA songs to make a third movie.
Amanda, my sweet child. I don't know how wrong you are.
You can always just redo the songs in different styles and stuff like that, and there are more songs. And I would suggest that the Benny and Bjorn, the composers of ABBA, the two guys who don't sing, but they have done some musical composing. Chess. Do you know Chess at all?
Yeah.
Chess has some jams.
The sport and the musical.
That's right. You could take some of those out. I think we're going to see some Chess songs in a Mamma Mia 3. I mean, look, there's too much money on the table. They got to do it. They got to do it. And I have the story.
Well, like, it's... All right, let's hear it.
No, finish your thought, because mine's going to be long.
I definitely think that there are enough songs for this thing.
Mm-hmm.
There are so many. They can all work. There are so many songs that if you told Amanda during Mamma Mia 1 the songs that they used in Mamma Mia 2, she'd be like, "You're crazy.
Right.
That would never happen."
So
Mamma Mia 3, they can use Intermezzo number 1. They can use The Tiger. They can use As Good as New. These songs will work. It's going to happen.
Absolutely.
It will work in the third movie.
And I have the story that you could hang literally any song on that you wanted, because here it is. So like you said, the first one's all about the dads, and the second one's more about the mothers. So the third one, I'm thinking, it starts, as is now the tradition with Mamma Mia sequels, someone got to die. And so there's two people.
Oh no!
I
don't know if I could handle another death.
One of two people is going to die between these movies, and they don't necessarily have to, but it's a good. Just like in this movie, it's a good shortcut. I mean, and that wasn't what... I mean, they couldn't get Meryl for as long as they needed, I'm sure, and they knew that early on, so they built the movie around that or whatever. It's a good shortcut to get everybody to the island or get the plot in motion. So, I'm thinking either Cher herself dies, and it's like her funeral before the third movie, or... Sorry, Amanda Seyfried's husband, Dominic Cooper. Who needs you? He's out on a sailing somewhere, and a storm comes in, and he drowns.
Hotel school.
He drowns while out on the seas or something. So he's gone, and so now she needs help. And Cher comes to the island to be with her to try to help, and her raise their. I don't want to spoil something about the movie, but. Amanda Seyfried has a baby in the third movie, and it's now a little girl, even like a little 5-year-old or something. And so Cher comes to help her try to raise it, but then Amanda Seyfried's like, "What the fuck? You can't just show up now like you didn't even raise my mom. What? How can you do that?" And so there's a whole conflict there of that she doesn't want to accept that help, and it's like is it too little, too late from Cher, to really try to be an active role here. More than just showing up at that party, right? And so that gives us the impetus to now jump back in time. Drum roll. I'm not going to do the sound effect again. Cher's origin story. X-Men origin Grandma Cher. Okay? And you have her now as a young woman coming up as a music artist. And we learn about her romance with Fernando at some point in this. Christina Marie, don't you dare say no. Don't you dare say no. Because, listen, you haven't even heard my casting of young Cher yet. And that's going to turn anyone around on this. And if I told you the plot of Mamma Mia 2, you'd also say it was stupid. But basically, you go back in time and you see her as a young touring artist going up. Young Cher will be played by Lady Gaga. Lady Gaga. And she will play her from the ages of early 20s, or even 19, which, It's musicals. Musicals people play younger than themselves. It's musicals. And Lady Gaga will play her from like 19 to like 45 or something. And she'll play that whole range of ages and they'll go back in time. Yes, Lady Gaga can play her at any age. And then you'll have her touring as a young artist. You can play literally any ABBA song that doesn't make any sense because you just have it be her on stage singing it as she's a touring artist and then falling in love with Fernando and then how that falls apart. And then you can have her like coming back to the island a little later in when Meryl's there. And maybe like you have not Meryl, I should say, Lily James era Donna.
Yeah, because
and you
can't do 3 without Lily James.
Well, no, that's what
Lily's
I'm saying.
Not there. Yonkler walks on the project.
So the movie is more about that relationship. It's really going to be about, and then so you also have Cher when like Donna is super young. You could have her like the age of, and basically it's all about daughters now. The third movie is about daughters, and so it's about Amanda Seyfried and her daughter, Cher and Donna, and then Donna and of course Amanda Seyfried, which was a lot in it really just gets hinted at towards the end of the second movie of that relationship. It's really, it'd be cool to see that, I think. So then this is the third movie. Okay, so I know that you're watching, what's his name again? Richard Curtis? I know you're watching.
Yes.
I
know you're on the line.
I've already written this down and mailed it to myself, so don't fucking try to do it without writing me a check. But I'm willing to be a consulting producer, and I think this is good. Like, this is good, actually. The movie is definitely good, actually. The two. And I think this, I like my sequel. How are we feeling about Mamma Mia?
I
Mamma
like the
3?
sequel.
And I think it's called Dancing Queen because it's all about their daughters and watching them, like, grow up. Or something. Which is sort of how that song functions in the first movie, in a way. Yeah. Anyway, that's Mamma Mia. That's the Mamma Mia discussion. Yonkler, I went long as always because we just love talking musicals.
It's just so fun.
Would you like to plug anything?
Watch Mamma Mia. Here we go again.
Yeah, definitely.
First and foremost. I guess if I want to plug anything else, I don't really have much going on myself. But if wherever you are in the world, just look and see. I know that COVID and everything, things are crazy right now, but kind of keep tabs on your local theater and just see what's going on there and see what you can do in your neck of the woods, faithful viewers. Because this is wonderful. We love the theater. It's good. It has a place, and keep this shit alive.
Absolutely. I think. Yeah, if you find yourself with some spare, you're one of the lucky ones here in this pandemic where you have a little bit to spare and you're looking for people, that would be good to go to. Do some research or talk to some actors or something about, or people, theater goers, about what are really good theaters or if you know of any, and throw them some money, because they are not going to be able to do anything for a long time. But, again, that's an opportunity. I would like to see more musicals that are good, because those you could probably get to filming those again earlier than you could get people on stage potentially. I guess we'll see.
Right.
But Yonkler, thanks so much for being here.
So then we'll just be watching our musicals.
Then we'll just be watching Musical Theater is Good, actually, every Saturday at 8. Next week, I will announce my guest now. Next week will be a DC actor, Carl Williams, one of my good friends and just a really talented performer. We were doing a show together when COVID hit that we had to shut down and not do our last weekend. So we'll probably talk about that a bit. And we'll talk more about musicals with him. I love Carl. I love Yonkler. I love all of you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody, for being here. This is really fun. Thanks, everybody. So until next time, I love you.